Adam, why do you hate Rocky 3 in the first place? Well, my opinion has changed on Rocky 3, actually. I don't hate it as much. Now, I saw Rocky 3 when I was a kid, and the stupid stuff in it, as a kid, just felt hyper stupid. And I guess the more serious stuff that actually was quite emotional that you could latch onto as an adult, I just didn't get because I was a kid. So it just didn't, and that just stuck in my mind. So that all the negatives of it and the fact that it didn't connect emotionally has always just stuck in my mind. Right. I actually got into a bit of a thing with Clayton over it in a private chat in Facebook, and that convinced me to just go, oh, sod it, I'll go and watch it again. So I watched it again, and yes, it is one of the better Rocky films. Not the best, though. Not the best. I would still say first Rocky film. Then I would go with two of the Creed movies, the last two Creed movies. Then I would go with the director's cut of Rocky 4.
Okay.
Then I'm going with Rocky 3.
Okay.
And
I see. Yeah. I have no problem with anyone putting the first Rocky #1 5-star film. It's great. Right. I just have a little bit more fun and find Rocky 3 to be more rewatchable. That's why I have that one slightly over the first one, but I actually have not seen Creed 2 or 3. I saw the first one in theaters, but didn't check out the other two. So I need it.
Yeah, the first one didn't really work for me because the what's the word? The conflict that the character has was almost like a boo-hoo, you're rich, who cares kind of thing. It's like, oh no, you've had such a hard life because you've been raised in an orphan family. Yeah. It's like they tried too hard to work in the, I'm a black kid, so I've always, I've got the disadvantage against me, regardless of whether I'm rich or not. And so it just, I'm not interested in your conflict. Like if you look at the conflict with Rocky in the first film, he was a bum. He hadn't achieved his potential. He lived in a really rough neighborhood. His job was crap. He was crap. And so it really was about him overcoming that and being a better person. And whereas in the second Creed film, the conflict that exists within that film, which is not just between Creed and the person he's going up against, it's also between Rocky and the Russian guy from Rocky 4. Dolph Lundgren comes back. So there's a whole thing there, and the conflict there really worked a heck of a lot better. And it's easily the best Creed film for me. Is the second one. Okay. And then the third film, again, they've got that conflict right. They introduced a character that I think has been soured because of everything that happened with Jonathan Majors. So I think it's probably not so cool to like the film as much anymore because it's Jonathan Majors. But I'm like, I think you can say John Majors is prick and without having to say, oh, well, then everything he's touched is tainted. The film's really good. I think the conflict in it is great. I think the handling of that character is great. So, yeah. Like with any Rocky film, you've got to give me a good enough reason to want to see the two people who are fighting in the ring fight. Right. Like, yeah. Like Rocky 2, when I was a kid, was my favorite. But I really feel like if I watch that now, it's probably going to be right at the bottom. Because like with my adult brain now, I reckon if I watch that, I'm like, why are we watching these two fight again? We've seen it. What's the point?
I'm not overly fond with Rocky 2, but I still don't think it's bad, but it's kind of just in a lot of ways rehashing the first one. You know, and the thing is, what the outcome is going to be, even if you haven't seen it, because
you're rehashing it
twice.
You're rehashing it, but you're undoing the ending that made the first one so special. It wasn't about the win. The win was going the distance.
Exactly. Yeah.
And that's applicable to anyone who's involved in anything that's about bettering themselves. Right. Which is that your competition isn't the people you're competing against. It's you. Right. You're always competing with yourself. It's your personal best that you're competing against. So yeah, it kind of undoes it with the second film, and that's without going back and watching it. I just feel like now, just off memory, if I watched it again, I really don't think that would hold up as well as it did when I was a kid.
I don't think it would for you.
Yeah. So yeah, but there you go. What's your favorite Rocky fight?
Ooh, favorite Rocky fight. So I would probably go with the second fight in Rocky 3 with him and Clubber. He loses the first fight, with he loses the first fight with Clubber, and then he just hear me out. He wins the second fight with Clubber, but I love the fact that the second fight with Clubber in that movie is the only Rocky fight in any of the movies that Rocky actually trash talks. Like he's like, come on, knock me out. You ain't so bad. Like he's talking trash to Clubber, and I just, for whatever reason, I love that.
So I've done a bit of boxing, never at a professional level, but I've had a fight. I did a charity match and stuff, so I know what it's like to be in the ring, and I know what it's like to get hit and try and keep your composure, right. keep on your feet, and yeah, so because of that, when I look at the old Rocky films, I just find them, they're not boxing matches. They're brawls. No. They're like, they're never blocking. They don't have the stance right. They're not. It doesn't even look like boxing. It just looks like two guys beating seven bells out of each other and like hands by the side, just seeing how much of a punch they can take. And
The Boxer is a good boxing movie with Daniel Day-Lewis.
Boxer's a great boxing movie. But but as for best fights in the franchises, I'd say the best fights are from Creed. I think that's obviously down to the modern sensibility of trying to shoot them right. I think the first fight we see, is it the first fight in the first Creed film? Like, say whatever you want about that first Creed film, the fights, particularly that first fight, which I think was done in a one take, or it was shot as if it was a one take. I can't. It's been a while since I've seen Creed,
so since I've seen
somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm sure the first fight that Creed has in the first Creed film, we follow him into the ring and the camera never comes off him, and it's kind of done as this one long take. But the way it's shot and the way that it actually feels like a boxing match, I feel like these two actors have trained as boxers in order to do boxing on camera.
Right.
That, like, I wasn't really into the film up until that point, and then once that boxing match, it kind of grabs you, and you're like, oh, okay, now they mean business here. Like when it comes to the actual boxing stuff, they're going to get that right. If they get nothing else right, they're going to get that right. So yeah, for me, that felt more like an actual boxing as opposed to the MTV kind of nonsense that you see in the others. Jason's ranking: Rocky 1, Rocky 2, then Rocky Balboa, Rocky 3, Rocky 4, director's cut. It's a bit low down, that, mate. Bit low down. And then Rocky 4, theatrical, and then Rocky 5. I would actually put Rocky 5 above Rocky 4 theatrical because it at least has a story. Rocky 4, the theatrical cut, does not. It is just a music video. It's an extended music video in which two guys fight. And there's some nonsensical attempt at putting some kind of, Cold War undercurrent in there, but it just comes off as American chest thumping, and
it doesn't do anything new with any of the characters. We don't learn anything new about Rocky that we don't already know. He doesn't go through any new development that he hasn't already gone through, and there's no new obstacle. Like, even as strong as Drago is, Clubber was also stronger than him. So it's not like Drago is posing a certain threat physically that Rocky hasn't faced. They don't do anything new with the character. It's fun. It's got a great soundtrack. It can get you, motivated, but story-wise, character-wise, it doesn't really work for me.